All right, everyone, it is time. It's time for the live stream. Let's go. Welcome. We all made it. We all made it here to this live stream to have a great time and to do some writing. So, hey, we got a lot on the agenda today. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. It's going to be a good time. Today's been a weird day. I've had like 4 cups of coffee, like 2 cups of tea. I feel like I've been dragging behind a little bit. I've been trying to catch up, but you know what? I'm here. And all that caffeine got me right here. And whatever happens today, we're going to focus on some writing. We're going to have a good time. And we're going to laugh. That's the goal, at least. That's my goal, to help you have a good time. You know, combining productivity with a live stream, with having, just like hanging out and goofing off and answering questions, not the easiest thing, but so far I've had a blast. I hope you've had a blast, and we're gonna keep on going. So some very first things, top of the agenda. I got some things to mention. First off, thank you to Pro Writing Aid for sponsoring the stream. It's because of that sponsorship that you don't have to deal with a ton of ads throughout the stream. And if you do, let me know and I can turn that off. Let me know. I don't believe I have any ads running. You might see one at the beginning. You might see one at the end. YouTube just always kind of does that. But because of that sponsorship, it means that you won't be listening to the lo-fi music and writing and then all of a sudden hear some big ad. So shout out. Thank you, Pro Writing Aid. Use my code WritingTheory10 at checkout at Pro Writing Aid. You can get 10% off. You'll see me using Pro Writing Aid as I write, because that's just what I do. Next thing, Writing quest. That is, I saw in the chat over here, someone asking, someone else is doing a live stream. That is writing quest. That is our dear user Coral Sands, who is doing the their own sort of writing live streams. And they even have some guest authors that come in and speak, and they were kind enough to invite me, and I was like, of course. One of the awesome things about Coral Sands is you may see in the Discord a couple people have like a kind of like a yellow or gold name. That is a special role that I gave out to the first 10 people that joined the Discord server. Coral Sands was one of those 10. Shout out, support small creators. It goes a long way. Next thing on the list, I don't know if you knew this. I announced this in one of my videos maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. I offer developmental editing and book coaching services. You can see that more on my website, writingtheory.com. There's a little section there for coaching. Book coaching is having someone along for the ride with you, providing comments on a running doc as you write, reading what you write, and coming back in and you guys meeting and talking about the state of the story. I do already work with a couple people for book coaching, and it is such a freaking blast. If you like the way that, you know, my videos kind of break down story, book coaching is a way to have that in real time with what you are writing. And it's a one-on-one meeting. It's always just so much fun. And then I also do developmental editing. If you have a story that's already written and like fully complete, and you just want to get feedback on how you can improve it, how you can touch it up before you put it out into the world, I offer developmental editing where I will read your whole manuscript and we'll have a 2-hour meeting just knocking out all the details. Here's where your story like super like succeeded expectations. Here is where things like the pacing got a little slower. How can we fix that? Things like that. It's a lot of fun. So you can check it out on my website. Next thing up, and the very last thing I think I have here to mention, is this. If you have a good time, feel free to share Writing Theory and the live stream with any other writing communities you might be part of. The more, the merrier. That's all I got. That's all the top of the list, top of the live stream things to do. And that means we come back to always a great way to open a stream. And that is, let's talk about some writing advice, some writing motivation. I know we have some people that, you know, so many different things can happen in life where you're so excited to write one day and then you're just beaten down the next day. Happens to the best of us. So what is some writing advice that's out there that may help you? And what writing advice out there is just garbage? That's what we're finding out next. Let's look at our tier list here. We have our traditional categories. We have S tier, A, B, C, D. And then we have our writing advice down here. You've probably heard all of these. Pilot Alex Watchman says, no epic guitar riff, special occasions only. If you don't know what they're talking about, check out our Friday live stream for how that opened up. All right. So let's talk about some writing advice. What is good about it? What is bad about it? What stands the test of time? What is should just be tossed out to the curb? Number 1, tell stories only you can tell. Tell stories only you can tell. What do you think about that? What do you think about that? Tell stories only you can tell. I think it's pretty clear where this one goes. Tell stories only you can tell. B, Gabrielle says. B, we got number 1. Ooh, I have a lot of hot takes here probably. Margot, I am with you. I think a hot take here. Garbage. Garbage. Garbage advice, in my opinion. In my asterisks, in my opinion. Here's the deal. Here's the deal. I've seen so many people get demoralized because they had this idea for the story. They started writing the story. They were in love with the idea. And then they discovered there's another story out there that's kind of similar. And they said, oh, I guess I have to scrap this whole thing. Wrong. Every story has already been written. Every story has already been written. This advice, I think, terrible. If you take it this way. If there's another interpretation, post it in the comments. But tell stories only you can tell. Look, every story out there in one capacity or another, one trope or another, is kind of already put together, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't write it. If there's someone out there who loves pirate stories and you want to write a pirate story, but you're like, no, someone else already did it, that person would freaking like to read a pirate story. Put it out there. Put it out there. C tier, easy. The next writing advice is straightforward. Stop complaining. Also, who is this behind? Do you see this image back here? Who is that? Can we get a fact check? Who is this dude? What the heck? All right, I don't know who put this together, but this person, this specific piece of advice, terrible. Bottom of the list. Bottom of the list. Are you kidding me? Stop complaining as advice. That's like telling someone to just be happy. Just choose to be happy. Easy C, yeah. Neglect everything else. Oh, that's art from an author who does advice videos on YouTube. Interesting. Neglect everything else. Well, I would love to discuss their, where they found all their writing advice. Neglect everything else is also got to be a pretty hard C here. Yeah, it only goes down to C, so I'll stop it there, but neglect it. So far, 3 strikes, you're out of here. Neglect, you can't, it is impossible to neglect everything else. Beginnings matter. Okay, now we're doing something. Beginnings matter. Beginnings, in my opinion, of course, do matter in your story. But here's the deal. Come on, I'm a fan of temporary beginnings. Personally, beginnings do matter. I'll put this up here in B. It's not the best advice I heard. I don't disagree with it, but it also doesn't really give much information. It doesn't really guide us. Yeah, just guys, as we're going fast, I see. We are, because we got productivities, we got writing to do. But it would be fun just to look over a couple. I like opening the stream with something fun and energetic rather than, all right, time on the clock. Also, I feel like my camera might be too low. Oh my God, what if I was bald straight up? Or what if I just had the sides and was bald at the top like a monk? Oh, dude, talk about writing channel branding. I could be the monk guy. I could be the one who looks like he's the writer who's found inner peace, who's providing all of the writing advice from the hills up in Tibet. You know what? Keep the beard. Something's there. Maybe I'll pivot. Next up, we got Find the Joy. Find the Joy. Also, credit to this tier list. I think we found it. 69 says found the channel specifically. Rulerverse, if I am pronouncing that right. Rulerverse, thank you for putting together the tier list. I hope this finds you. It makes for great conversation about writing. There you go. Find the Joy. Katie says SS plus. Find the Joy, I agree. Like, look, there are times when you're going to be exhilarated about writing. But like what we saw Corby posted in the chat, sometimes that motivation wanes. You're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days. But there's a reason we keep coming back to writing. And it typically is because we have a story to tell and there's the joy in telling it. I think us as humans naturally want to share our stories. Find the joy in it, absolutely. And sometimes in this case, find the joy can also mean like if you get enjoyment out of creating your stories, like you have the keys to the kingdom. If you can find a way to get like this positive feedback loop of, I was talking about it in another live stream, being motivated because you are attached to your characters and want to see them succeed and go through trials and tribulations. And that motivates you to write, which motivates you to move that journey along. It's that positive feedback loop. Hard to get there, but it happens. Yeah, Corby says, or a bad month. I feel ya. Sometimes you write to keep momentum going, so you have to make it fun. Sometimes you just got to push through. But also here's some key advice. I don't know if it's down here or not. Allow yourself to have lulls. That's totally okay. Allow yourself to have lulls. Allow yourself to take a step back. Sometimes that happens. You can have a successful Novella November and just write for 6 or 7 days. Because you went out there, you put the effort in, you wrote when maybe you didn't want to write. You made that progress. Gray Bubble says, "Ayo!" Research a lot. When it comes to writing advice, I don't think research a lot is a top tier writing advice. I like to research. Most of the time, if I'm writing a story based in our real world, I'll try to do a level of research. But like, I don't think it's necessary. I'll put it like top of B, research a lot. Now, it is fair to say, it is totally fair to say that researching a lot gives you more ammunition to use in your story to write about different and diverse things. That's good. I saw one of these things down here on the list we'll get to in a bit. Listen, pal, I really need to know how the quantum mechanics around black holes work. Yes. Okay, Christopher Nolan. All right. Expect it to be hard. That's an interesting one. Expect it to be hard. What do you think of that? Expect writing to be hard. Now, I do think writing can be very hard. Of course, it's not so much of a physical exertion, but you get mentally tired, and probably more than anything, it's all discipline. Hello, welcome, party people. Expect it to be hard. The hardest thing about writing, in my opinion, is really two things. And you could put any number of different things here. But the hardest thing about writing, in my opinion, is number one, the discipline. You have to keep showing up. Writing it's a marathon. It's not a sprint, you know? Number two is feedback. If you choose to create a story and share it with people, you open yourself up to hearing about your story and getting that feedback from other people. Hopefully it's good. Hopefully, more than anything, you learn from that feedback. But there is always an element of opening yourself up when you've created something, especially when you spent months creating something and then putting it out into the world and just like, now you're here to accept the feedback. You know? Expect it to be hard, I think could be taken a bunch of different ways. I think this is S. That's fair. Keep it simple. Expecting your writing to magically become good by getting perfect advice isn't practical. You need a master discipline, needs to hear critique. Definitely true. Keep it simple. What do we think about keep it simple? I think there is an element of good advice in here. Keep it simple does have an element of good advice. It is easy, especially in the genres of like science fiction and fantasy, when you're building these entire worlds that you want to talk about, to spend so much time planning all the little details of your story. And especially, I think a common sort of hole to fall down is like, I need to plan everything. I need to, fill out this character sheet of 40 plus different questions about my character. I bet you would learn more about that character if you sat down and wrote 4,000 words. Having that character interact with the world, having that character do things. I think, I see Jeff says this is a B. I think I would say bottom of, I say bottom of A. I think it's better than research a lot. I think there's something to be said with at sometimes being like, I don't need that super extensive plot framework to write. Maybe I just need to treat the story like a story. What's the next fun thing I should write about? Could go either way. Edit your writing. There's a lot to unpack here. Edit your writing. A lot to unpack here. I would say first thing, edit your writing. Some people say, writers, you should not be your own editor. And to that, I say, I don't have the money to buy an editor. Maybe you feel me. Maybe you feel me. You should, of course, I think before you share your writing in like a specific way, yeah, like touch it up, fine tune it, do what you need to do. I told you I use Pro Writing Aid to edit, and that gets me most of the way there in terms of like not messing up my grammar, not messing up my spelling, running those reports to see like X, Y, and Z. I don't really know how much further to take that. So we're going to say that's top of B. It could be interpreted so many times. Keep getting better. Oh, easiest double S I have seen today. Keep getting better. Here's the cool thing about this, and I try to say this every single time that we talk about writing. Keep getting better. You are an artist. You are using muscles that you probably have, just discovered how to connect that story that's in your brain, coming out of your fingers on the keyboard and presenting 40,000 words in a way that makes sense to 1,000 people who could read your story. You can't get that right on the first try. Keep getting better. Here's the best thing that now maybe this will be on here. I was really glad that my first story I put out into the world was fairly small. Like 55,000 words, Starlight Farm's Kennel for Talking Dogs. And the reason why I recommend other people maybe start with that kind of word count or lower is that all the lessons you learn in that first project raises you up to a level that you're never gonna fall below again. When you start your next project, you're starting from up here, not down here. If that makes sense. You've learned, you've made the mistakes, you've figured out your workflow a little bit better. The next project you start, you're already up here. Love it. Be patient. S. It's a long art form, right? Takes a long time. Moving on. Develop writer friendships. Oh. Develop writer friendships. That's an interesting one. See, I was never part of any sort of writing community before Writing Theory. This was my first ever, getting people together to talk about writing, sharing things. And if you were to ask me this about this piece of advice, develop writer friendships, however long ago, last year, I probably would have been like, take it or leave it. Maybe it's good for some people. Maybe it's good for others. Maybe I would have felt a certain type of way about it. Now, oh my gosh, I have gained so much from talking to you guys, and I've seen all the different sort of transactions that we have in the Discord server and the feedback people give and all kinds of awesome stuff. Extremely helpful. I won't put this in double S. I think for some people this would be great, and for a lot of people, they see it more as an isolation kind of, I'm focused on the writing process of getting the story out of me onto page. So I'd say bottom of S. I say give it a try. Of course, all of us in here, we've chosen to be part of some kind of community, and hopefully we've all had a good time. Comrade Sheridan, welcome, comrade. Serve your audience. Controversial one here. Serve your audience. I would change this to be aware. Now, this is very on brand. Being aware of genre tropes, right? What does your audience want in this genre that you're writing? Because if you miss that mark, then you're very clearly doing something wrong in how you understand the genre. Don't change so much of what you specifically want to create based on the audience, right? There's this whole idea of like chasing trends. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. Some people who are like, ooh, dystopian YA romance is big right now. That means I need to write a dystopian YA romance. You know what I'm saying? All right, so let's put this, I see you guys in the chat. I see you all in there. Good chat today. We got a solid chat going on right now. I love this. Margo says, as a hobbyist, I try to be aware of my audience, but aim for the audience that like me. The idea is like, if you write it There's millions of readers out there. Someone's gonna find your book to be the dream book, you know? I would say serve your audience. I think bottom of S. I get there. You know, there's a ton of different ways to take it. Field of streams, exactly. If you write it, they will read it. Just start, double S. I agree with this. You learn so much by just doing it. Go for it. Just start. JPB says, problem with chasing trends is that when you're done with what you're producing, what's hot might have moved on. Yes, definitely. Another major downside to chasing the trends. Margo says, just start is a septillion S. Yeah, I'm a fan of just giving it a try. Write that temporary beginning. Start to establish your characters. By the time you get past that inciting incident, now you're in this world that you've created and you understand it so much better. Do what works for you. That's a double S, baby. That's a double S. Do what works for you. Your writing process may be different than someone else. I know that, I think Corby in chat here writes in the middle of the night. I don't know what your schedule's like, but sometimes I see you be like, midnight, time to start writing. And I'm like, wow, what the heck? You hear so many stories of like Brandon Sanderson worked as like a security guard in a hotel or something. And he took that job because it let him write. Or I had a writing teacher in college that did the same thing. They took a job being a night guard for like a warehouse. All so they could write uninterrupted when they were working and basically get paid to write. And then also you can do what works for you. You know, take that a million different ways. Ignore the naysayers. Yes. Try not to surround yourself with naysayers. Also good advice. Don't call yourself a writer. Oh, let's talk about this one. We got 6 minutes left max, and then we're going on to do some writing. What do you think? What do you think about don't call yourself a writer? This is a hot one. With hot wings and even hotter questions. Wait, questions and even hotter wings. 59 says, I'm not a writer, I'm an artist. Writers are people who write. Coruscant says, hot take. Here's the deal. Even after I started this channel, even after I put out Starlight Farms Kennel for Talking Dogs, I still feel weird telling people I'm a writer. I don't know why, you know? Maybe it's because all of my life beforehand was spent in like the corporate world. Even then, I was a writer. I wrote as a technical writer, right? But like, there's something in my head that's like, it feels weird to tell people that I'm a writer. Even though, I mean, everything I do now is about writing. The YouTube channel, writing books, doing the coaching, doing the live streams. The thing is like, Corby says writer and author are two different things. I think you should call yourself a writer. I think mentally there's something nice about flipping that switch and just announcing it. You don't have to go out of your way to work it into every conversation. You're not doing CrossFit. Nice, got him. Got him. But acknowledging that like, hey, this is something I could be kind of proud of. There's something there. Not for everyone. Maybe you don't want to talk about it. Maybe it's a hobby in the nighttime. I don't know. I'm gonna say this is A. This is gonna depend on the person, where you are at in your writing journey, how public you want it to be. Like if you write all these erotica books under a pen name, are you still walking around telling a bunch of people you're a writer even though you're maybe successful? It really depends on what you want to present yourself as. And you can do that any way you want. Learn to let go. We got 4 more minutes. We're gonna speed this up. Learn to let go. What does that? What does this even mean? Corby says, strut the smut. Learn to let go. Maybe you could say that this is like a kill your darling situation. Maybe this is like learning to finish the story. Maybe this is learning to give up on stories that aren't going to work or something like that. We'll put this, I don't think this is bad. I think it's We'll say B. We'll say B. I don't really know what they're going for. Sound like yourself. I am an amalgamation of every writer that I enjoy. That is myself. I'm an amalgamation of everything I've ever read where I've been like, this is cool. I am an amalgamation of the authors that inspire me. Sound like myself. Myself is also going to change book to book. This great little book I have back here, Starlight Farms Kennel for Talking Dogs, link in the description, was a fairy tale kind of thing. I'm telling you, I'm not being very whimsical in Upon Careless Gray Hills, murder mystery in Alaska. Sound like yourself. I think is important for you just for your own identity's sake. Follow your passion. Kind of up there with ignore the naysayers. Write what you're inspired to write. Low A Corby says, one guy told me my writing sounded like Chuck Palahniuk and Philip K. Dick had a baby. Are you writing a bunch of goo goo gagas? Got him. Got him. Oh, yeah. Now nonfiction, I don't have a ton of experience with nonfiction, so like maybe there's something else there. Success comes in layers. Top of A. Success does come in layers because, of course, there's commercial success, writing your book and people buying it or enjoying it. But also, the biggest success is the success of just you doing the things that you want to do. Even if you finish a story, short story, and you never share it with anyone, that's a success, baby. That is a success. Am I saying baby too much? Let's get a baby counter in chat. Set ambitious goals. Oh, that's a tough one. Bottom B. That's a bottom B, baby. Help. I've fallen and I can't get up out of this. All right. Ambitious goals. I get it. Once you feel really good about, your workflow, understanding what you can output, then set ambitious goals. But a lot of us in our earlier part of the careers, ambitious goals, that's ambitious. You also want to set yourself up for success. That's why I'm like, maybe don't plan your first story to be about one person in a spaceship with no one else to talk to, and it's all stream of conscious, intrinsic stuff, and write 80,000 words like that. That's a tough one. Set yourself up for success. Find your own voice. Duh. Yes. Don't follow the trends. Bottom of B. The thing is, like, don't follow the trends. Also, don't go out of your way to write something you don't want just because X, Y, or Z is trendy. I don't know. This is kind of a tough one. We got read a lot. We talk about this a lot in the channel. This was one of the first debates I saw in my YouTube comments, which was, do you need to read a lot to write? To be a good writer? I recently saw Stephen King say something like, a lot of people who want to write a book may say something like, I don't have time to read. He says, if you don't have time to read, you don't have time to write. You can't immerse yourself in the craft, or something like that. It's a classic Stephen King. Just keeps talking. You know what I'm saying. I personally want to be reading a lot. I think you can only get better by reading a lot, and especially when you start reading intentionally and breaking down stories and genres and tropes and characters and journeys and writing decisions and efforts to understand them so you can apply it to your own writing. I love that. I love that stuff. I could do so many different videos all about like how to read this book, take this thing out of it and apply it to your own writing. A little one of those salt-based seasoning kind of situations. I'll put this in top mid of A. Good advice. Mark says, I'm just too lazy to follow it. It's a time thing. Do what you when you have time. Yep. Sounds like a good video. Hey, JPB, that's what I'm talking about. Be flexible. Double S. Be flexible not only in your plot frameworks when things go off the rails. Be flexible not only in your writing process to try new things. Be flexible not only in the amount of time you give yourself. Be flexible in your expectations and looking out for yourself. Reading is something that is directly impacted by your mental state. Is that a hot take? I don't think so. I think that if you're reading something I wrote, you could probably pick it apart and say this day he was having a really good day. This day was maybe not so much. That's why we got to edit. Yes. Keep a journal. Oh, man. Keep a journal, huh? I know I make some enemies every time I say this. Keep a journal, huh? What do you guys think? Keeping a journal. I would not recommend people keep a journal. Specifically a journal of all their writing ideas. I don't recommend that. Some people will say, oh, I love putting down all these cool ideas that I have for these different kinds of stories. And when I'm writing one story and I want to amp it up, I'll go look through that and I'll grab another piece and work that into here and put that, oh, this could be a good character. I get that. I'm going to take this advice as the idea of like story idea journal. Not like you shouldn't take notes for this one story you're writing. I'm saying like, I personally would say do not keep a journal of all the different story ideas that you have, because so many of them are flashes in the pan that you're going to be interested in for 1 second and you're never going to return to, and it takes up space. Just like Anne Juliet's Shining Threads says, good ideas will stick to you. Here's another Stephen King thing, a King thing, right? He said one time, I put this in one of my videos, that having a writing journal is like fishing with a really fine net. And you're trying to catch those big fish. Those are your great writing ideas. And you're gonna catch them. But you're also gonna catch every little small fry idea that you're gonna have to sift through, in order to get to the big ones. And it's just, if it's good enough, it'll stick with you. That's what Anne was saying. And that's what I do. Personally, I have not written down any of my big story ideas. But I'll tell you, I got about 7 that have stuck with me for almost a decade. Orby says, I have a dump file with categories. Totally works. It's up to your process, right? Keep a journal. I'll let you decide. I'll put this bottom of A because I'm not a hater. That's just my opinion. And then lastly, go do interesting things. Random Writer, hello, welcome. Glad you made it. Go do interesting things. Personally, I think this is double S tier. Big fan. I haven't made a video on this because I just feel like there's so much I want to say about it, and I haven't distilled it down yet. I firmly believe that better living means better writing. And so the more new things you try, more opportunity you go out of your way to experience, the more ammunition you have to write about. Now, that is also fairly, I'm going to go ahead and say it, a very privileged answer for someone who has had the privilege to do some travel and someone who has had the privilege to try new things. I recognize that. And in recognizing that, I address it. Here you go, world. That is the tier list I got for you. I'm going to fix my camera. We're going to open up Scrivener. I'm going to give you an update of the planning and the changes and the progress I've made in my story. And then we're about to do some writing. Let me fix the camera. I'll be right back. Ooh, baby, we are so back. So back. Here's the tier list. I'll take a quick screenshot of it here and post it over in our Discord. What a lovely plate. And I'll go share the link in case anyone else would like to do their own. Clipboard, capture, over to the Discord. We rockin', we rollin'. November hangout, let's go. Boom. He's a dang pro. How does he do it? How does he do it? Working the Discord, working OBS, working Firefox. My God, he's cracked the code. Oh, JPB, you're giving me a heart attack. I have been known to mute my microphone before. All right. Let me tell you about Upon Careless Gray Hills. Get our big title up there. So, Upon Careless Gray Hills, I am currently at 2886 words. Let's update my little word count over here. 2886. Not a ton. I haven't been slacking, but I have been known to do better. But it's not always about the word count. If by the end of the month I'm sitting at 30,000 words, I'm not going to beat myself up about it. I'll just keep writing. This guy says, we would probably point it out if your mic was muted before. Best joke I ever said in the live stream, one of my early ones. Oh, would have killed in the chat, but my microphone was, and I was like hamming it up. I was in this big Zoom. I was like, ooh, punchline. Ooh, like nailed it. Arms crossed. Oh, yeah. Oh, these, right? And then I found out my mic was muted. It was a tough day. Tough day. Pilot Alex Watchman says, I just realized you came up with your title before you started writing. How does one achieve this skill? So I had a shortcut here. I had a shortcut to this one. And that was that this story was based on a real life location, right? Whittier, Alaska. And then Whittier, I think his name was John Whittier, is a poet. So I looked through a couple of their poems, and I caught this line, upon gray hills. And I was like, oh, I feel like that could be real moody. And then I was like, I need one more word to really feel like it's like to really get that vibe. And it was upon careless gray hills. And I like that. So I had a shortcut. If I was just pulling a fantasy novel out of my head, it might be a lot harder to settle on a title. But I like this one. All right, so we're at 2886 words. I've written 3 days. 3 days. The first day in the live stream, I got about 1,200 words, I think, which was really just our opening scene of my guy, my main character, Millennium Storyteller. Hello, welcome. Our main storyteller, Millennium Storytellers in my head now. Our main character arriving into town, kind of setting the vibe. And in my case, I actually had a little bit of like, you know, had this understanding of kind of what my theme was going to be. Which was kind of us versus them. Was the thing I was going to be going back to back, right? That was like the theme. So I kept really trying to work that into my opening chapter. I got to my second chapter where I'm establishing the place where our main character kind of lives. It's all stirring up, all coming together. If you didn't see this before, I am following a plot framework. I'll scroll to the bottom first to talk about it. It's not filled out. You can see I have lots of empty room here. In my personal opinion, planning out to the inciting incident, I think is a great idea. A lot of times I want to know what's happening after that inciting incident, but a lot of times I also discover that kind of information. So that's kind of what I gave myself room to do. I found a mystery plot structure from a website from this author, Zara Altair, maybe is how you pronounce it. Very simply, here's 4 specific parts to a mystery novel. And then further down here, part 1, you know, you kind of want to do these kind of things. Part 2, you kind of want to do these kind of things. And I took that and I modified it to the kind of story I wanted to tell. I don't really have like a detective, right? I don't know. In my story, it's not like, hey, here is like this great detective who can piece together all these great observational skills things. It is a guy discovering stuff. He's just discovering things, right? So I modified that to better fit my story, and I recommend that maybe you do something like that too. You find a plot framework, you can still kind of tweak it to be how you want it to be. You don't have to use everything in the state that you get it. But I also, that's my storyline A. Oh, you know, our dude arrives. Here's like the body is found. Oh God. Oh, there's some cover up happening. Now we're going to try to solve it, even though the town head people don't want us to, because it'll look bad for the town. There's all the things, right? That's storyline A. But then Prairie Girl, hello. But then I also want to have a little romantic subplot. So down here, I took the romancing the beat plot framework, and I put down the specific kind of things I wanted to do there. I cut some things out, I changed some things, and I put that on the same table. And basically what's happening here is these are not all individual chapters, right? I'm not going to have one chapter for the opening image and one chapter for the character introductions and one chapter. That's not how it's working. These are just all the kind of things I want to accomplish in a kind of order, okay? Now, this is not how I did Starlight Farms. Starlight Farms, I did a pretty traditional plot framework. If you would be interested in me going through my story breakdown of Starlight Farms Kennel for Talking Dogs, a full expose on the writing process, I have that Scrivener file right here. And it even has my entire, let me zoom in here a little bit. It even has my entire plot framework that I had as I started writing. So one day, if you would like that sort of full expose, I even documented my writing process and all the decisions I was making over here in this thing called a story breakdown. And it has like the actionable takeaways. It has, you know, I had this idea for Goose, who's one of the characters early on, that he would have a stuffed animal to love to carry. And at the end of the story, he would be paired up with the seamstress who would fix his bear for them. I thought it was nice, but I needed to make the bear more important. So then I wrote this scene. I did a whole breakdown here. So if you guys are interested in that, let me know. That'd be a fun live stream to do, kind of an extra thing. I will spoil the book, and that's okay. All right, so that's kind of where I'm at. JP says it's so surreal seeing a Scrivener file for a book right next to me. Thank you so much for picking it up. That's surreal to me that you have the book. That's bonkers to me. Yeah, I would love to do a full breakdown on that. It was a lot of fun to write, and it could be a lot of cool things. But yeah, and then that's about as far as I got when it comes to this. Prairie Girl says yes, and I think a breakdown would be awesome because most people will tell you how to write but never show you how to do it in detail like that. That's the point of writing theory. That's why I made this channel. That's why I do it. Let me put this down before I hurt someone. Yeah, so I made this channel to be transparent about that kind of stuff. So I'm totally down to show you all the stuff I cut out, the decisions why I did that, plot framework, all that kind of stuff. All right. All of that being said, it is now time to, let's do like 20 minutes of writing. 20 minutes of writing. We'll come back for 10 minutes of just chilling out, which means about 7:15 my time. We could probably do that one more time and end today with 40 something minutes of writing. Hey, yeah, it's kind of cool. All right, that's the plan. That's the plan. Before we get started, does anyone have any roadblocks, any questions that they're stuck on that they want to bring up? I'll give us a couple minutes. If there's any questions or things that people have that they want to go over, and then we'll do some writing. Hold on. Getting hot in this room. Getting all fired up. Corby, thanks for joining us. Thank you for joining us. It was a great time. Love having you in the chat. Yes, Margot, I saw your post about switching to a new project. And that's okay. Ain't nothing wrong with that. In fact, doing it 4 days in, great timing. Better than doing it 14 days in. Gabrielle or Gabriel, let me know which one it is in the chat if you don't mind. What's the best way to organize your notes for your world building on Google Docs? I'm a fan of having multiple files, which is why one of the major reasons why I use Scrivener. If you don't have that capability, right? That would be the first thing I would say is like break things up into multiple files, create a folder for your book, create a folder for characters and world building and settings. If you don't like that, you'll have to find a different way, but I like to break things up into smaller bite-sized pieces. Gabriel, yes, let's go. Margaret says, I use chapters in Google Docs. Yes, if you use the style feature and do heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, you can bring up your table of contents on the left side. Click through there. I don't know. That's one of the downsides of Google Docs, right? Google Docs is really a one file kind of thing. Maybe there's some plugins out there for something like that. Maybe you can do something with comments, but that's one of the limitations that it has over other things. Katie says, how do I balance dialogue with descriptions? I feel like I'm spending too much time on dialogue. Great question, Katie. The first thing is, if you had to err on too much of one or the other, you would rather have too much dialogue. There is no specific ratio to follow. I did a video about how much dialogue you should have in your story. It's part 1 of a 3-part series of dialogue that I did. In there, I took 1,000 words from random sections across 5 or 6 different books in different genres. And to let you know, on average, for 1,000 words, you should have 36 lines of dialogue, is I think what I had in that video. So your book should be pretty dialogue heavy. Now that doesn't say like how long each dialogue is, but now if you're worried you're writing too much dialogue, not enough description, the first thing is it may be that you're suffering from what I call white room syndrome, I think, right? Which is the idea that like I'm gonna have my characters not doing anything meaningful, but talking about something important. Or I'm gonna have my characters sitting at home and then having this important conversation. Or I'm gonna have these characters walking down the street and having this important conversation. The thing is, just like how you have to plan out all your story beats, that should contain action, right? You can have your characters walking from point A to point B and talking, but something meaningful still needs to be happening. In my first chapter of my book here, I have, on my main character get off the train. And I spend a lot of that time describing the difference between him coming into this place as someone who's about to stay here for months as a seasonal police officer, which is a real thing, versus all the tourists around him. Now, that's going to be a pretty important part of the novel as we go on, this theme of us versus them. It's going to be between the permanent residents and the tourists, and the permanent residents and the people who are sort of coming to this area it's kind of hard to explain without going basically commercial fishing versus local business, right? That's kind of an important element of the story. So I spend time kind of reinforcing that theme, right? Here's our guide. He's the only one with 2 ratty suitcases on the train car seat next to him. Everyone else is all excited, taking pictures. He's there kind of trying to keep his head down, not ruining other people's stuff. He's kind of passive, setting that kind of stuff up. A lot of times people have the opposite problem. Here's lots of description. Here's lots of action. Here is where I'm missing a lot of dialogue. The idea is that a lot of your description and action can happen through your dialogue, and that's pretty good. Kind of want that to be. Millennium Storyteller, super excited. I got to write a major action scene today. Heck yeah, let's go. Those are always fun. Writing like the big climactic movie scenes for your book, that's always cool. How do you make your dialogue sound like real people? That's a skill that you definitely have to gain by writing dialogue. It gets to the point when you're writing that you kind of have these different parts of your head portioned out. Like I have like different characters with distinct voices that exist in my head that I'm kind of processing at different times. And I kind of know how people talk. Not in the sense of like, you know, like oh, I'm so smart and observant, right? But like, if I was in this role, here's how I would say something. And if I was in this other role, here's how I was saying something, right? If I was an actor playing all of these different roles, here's what I would say. That's something that you have to build up, that sort of confidence in presenting your characters like that. Yeah, one of the big pieces of advice, and Margot says it over here, is if you can, speak it aloud. I kind of get in this flow state, right? Of once I start to connect with characters, which takes a while. That's not something everyone does right off the bat. It's not something that you're just like, I'm going to start writing. Bam! I've embodied 4 different characters of different dialects and histories and religions. And that doesn't really happen. But anyways. All right, I think it's time to put some time on the clock. We're going to do 20 minutes of writing. Very excited. I am itching to write. Earlier, I kind of wasn't. But now, after talking about writing with you guys, kind of excited to just make some progress. I'm trying to get through the intro so I can get to the exciting part of really getting these characters together, solving this mystery, going to different locations. So for me right now, this temporary beginning, I'm trying to get to the good stuff, in my opinion. Goodbye, Corby. Have a great time. Have a great time. I know you're rooting for KC. What a Taylor Swift fan. Bandwagon. I wonder if they saw that. All right, let's get to writing. All right, everyone. I'll see you in 20 minutes. Microphone's going off. Lo-fi music's going up. Let's do it. right, first writing sprint done. Let's go. Did you know sometimes you're going to sit down to write and you're just like, am I gonna do it well today? Am I like feeling it today? But like as soon as you start writing, so much easier. Just like, it's like working out, right? Like getting here is step one. Getting here is like the hardest part. Let's see what we got. We got Millennium Storyteller, 400 words. That's awesome. Gabrielle. Oh, shoot. Am I even pronouncing that right again? I forget. 235 words. We take that. That's right. We take that. Can we address the word counter on stream? Because it's driving me kind of crazy. Is it the fact that it's like off center? Is that driving you crazy? Because I am about to update it. Now would be a great time if I needed to change it. Let's see. I got. Did I write the end of this? Okay, yeah. So I got 724 words in that. Carcelo 167. Margot says, I did my writing earlier today. 6,000 words. That is awesome, Margot. Yeah. I saw your post. I don't know how much I wrote, but I added a few more paragraphs. We take those. Oh, Pilot Alex Watchman. It doesn't update in real time. I manually type that in. But I started the stream today at 2886. That was the updated count before this writing sprint, just FYI. Odd Run Green says only 103 words, but I'm closing in on the end of a chapter. There's no only 103 words about it. You wrote 103 words. It's kind of stuck for the first 5 minutes. Yeah. Let's see. Right now I'm at 3571. Let's update that word counter. 3571. Look at that. I'd love to. Oh, we doing it. Oh, let's go. Take those. We take those. You know what? I should not try to get this perfectly positioned. But right now, oh my God, done it. Brenda currently at 45:33. Let's go. Good job, guys. Good job, everyone. Good job. Let me tell you about what I'm hitting right now. Remember, we are starting writing a cute scene of dialogue between sisters. Oh, that sounds like a lot of fun to write. Sometimes you get in those scenes and you just have a blast. I feel that way when I have like the love interests together. Personally, I really like, I what's the right way to say it? I think one of my strengths is dialogue that feels good. And so when I get those, two characters together and really just let them sort of feel each other out and ask questions and make jokes and be charming, that feels good. Big fan. Yeah. What was I gonna say? Good progress. Yeah, it's gonna be fun doing these live streams later when the word count is like I'm updating it from like 25,000 words to 26,000 words to 27. I'm excited for that. Korean says, I absolutely adore the banter between my two love interest characters. Let me tell you, there's some things that when you are excited to write them, it shows on the page. When you are completely sucked into your story and you're writing that big action sequence and you're like telling every punch and dodge and hit and you are invested in that, it comes through in the page. I think if you are having a good time writing it, you are having a good time reading it. And it works on the other way, on the other side. If you're bored writing that scene, might be a boring scene. Oh, Pilot Alex Watchman says, what is your word count goal, if any? When I sat down in the planning stream, in my head, I was like, I'm going to write like 70,000 words. And I was working with this plot framework. But then I was like, you know what? Why am I going to shoot for that many words? I feel like if you set a pretty high word count, more than likely, you're kind of setting yourself up for either you achieve it and you're happy, or you write 50,000 words and for some reason you feel like you failed. I don't know if anyone else might feel that way. So I set my word count much lower, of sort of like what I think is the bare minimum to tell the story. And then I'm expecting to write more in the sense of just like, you know, adding these scenes. Like my plot framework says that the setup, shoot. I don't know if you can see this. Let me zoom this in. My plot framework says that, because I was like, you know, I'll set a lower word count, and then if I exceed that, then great. But like that way I won't be bummed that I didn't write 70,000 words and I wrote 50,000 instead. So I said, I'll set a word goal at 50,000. And for me, I'm probably going to go much further than that. Especially if I choose to write off stream. Right now I've only written on stream. But here's the deal. I'm at 3,500 words. And I am like, here. I am like that far. So like, I know I'm going to write more than what that plot framework was suggesting. And I knew that. Like this is part of this is like the word count I'm shooting for. But part of this is that this plot framework says this part 1 setup is 10% of the novel. Bruh, that is too small. So many other plot frameworks are like, 25% of your story is act 1, all that setup and the inciting incident and the first steps of that journey. And then act 2 is like, you know, your 50% of the middle of your novel, where you do all the character interaction and all the big plot stuff and raising the stakes. And then act 3 is the final 25%. There's no way in hell I was gonna only write 5,000 words and accomplish all of this and be happy at the amount of detail and dialogue and pacing and character work. That was a pipe dream, but I put it down there just to have something down. I think more than likely my part 1, to get through the opening image, the character introductions, the hints of something wrong, the inciting incident, the don't do it, which is the story beat I'm saying, which is like our main guy now wants to go solve is being told not to solve the crime. And then Forge Your Own Path, where they decide they're going to try to solve this crime even though they're being told not to. All of that's probably going to take closer to like 15,000 words, if I had to guess. And that's me guessing. I expect that to be closer to 25% of my novel. Which, if I'm still shooting for 50%... Wait, not 50%. If I'm still shooting for 50,000 words, what's 25% of 50,000? Like 12,500. That's pretty close. Something like that. I mean, the math is exact. You know, one of the best things about choosing to pursue, I didn't choose creative writing in college. I chose to pursue what's called technical writing. When I was getting my degree, I didn't have to do hardly any math classes. Pro tip: be bad at math, be good at writing. Let me know if you need any other pro tips. You can find me on the live stream. All right. How are we feeling? We feel like another 20-minute writing sprint. We can end with 40 minutes of writing, maybe a couple hundred more words. Feeling good going into the rest of the night. Any questions? Okay, so I killed another character today. Oof. Oof. You know what? Killing a character, it feels bad, but it makes you feel. Put that on a t-shirt. That's going to be my new catchphrase on the live stream. Put that on a t-shirt. All right. Any questions before we move on to the next sprint? Can you imagine if I wrote like that? War is not life. Life is life. Put that on a shirt and sell it in Times Square. That's the catchphrase. Got 2 characters about to die soon. Ruthless. Ruthless in the chat. Oh, man. Kira says, I need to learn how to write banter with love interests more, but I got to write a fun, hot, cute scene with him last night. Ooh, fun. Yeah, those scenes are fun. Those scenes are fun. One day, when I'm not in the midst of Novella November or writing another book, I'm going to take a break for a couple weeks, and I'm going to write a romantic-y, spicy book for my wife and make a whole video on it, and I think it'll be a banger. Another banger from Carson Long. Oh, so good. Okay. All right, well then, I think it's about time we do our next 20 minutes. And then you can go into, after this live stream, for the rest of your day, just be like, yo, I had a great time in the live stream and I had 40 minutes of productive writing. And if Carson would cut the crap and not do tier lists, not do freaking tier lists at the beginning of the live stream for 30 minutes, I would have gotten an hour of productive writing. Comrade Sheridan said, I'm writing a less spicy romance novel or slice of life. I love me a good slice of life. Now, I don't know if that other story would ever see the light of day, but I think it would make for a really fun video. So we'll see what happens. I'll keep y'all, you'll see the video. You'll see the video. I'll keep y'all updated. All right, we're going for another 20 minutes. We got 20 minutes on the clock. Ladies and gentlemen, I will see you on the other side. Put that on a t-shirt and sell it in Times Square. Car Solo, your last message might have been shadow banned. Last one I saw is I was kind of stuck for the first 5 minutes. Rip. Rip. 07's in chat. Rip. I didn't shadow ban you. Is that an option? Just kidding. Just kidding, just kidding. All right, 20 minutes on the clock. Microphone's going off. Music's going on. See you guys then. And with that, they have been productive. We did it! Let's go! How'd everyone do? I got a total of 1,262 words down this live stream, bringing me to 4,109. That's kind of fun. Millennium Storyteller, another 400. Let's go. Comrade, same. Car Solo's probably been permabanned by some auto mod that be. Who knew YouTube Live would be more stringent than than the Discord? Who would have thought? All right, 105 words just now. Nice. Margot says, I was mostly housekeeping. I think I can manage uploading chapters to my blog this year, and I'll be shouting out the channel when I do. I love to hear it, Margot. Also, if you were mostly doing housekeeping, and I don't know how you guys feel about this. Oh, geez. I don't know how you guys feel about this. I think I want to try playing around with this, but, you saw in the Discord, we had a partnered post for ProseWrite, which is a dictation transcription thing. I think I'm going to try to do some dictation for maybe a short story, maybe something to just test the waters. At some point in the near future, I think it would be so cool just to be like doing some housework, talking about a story out loud, and then bringing it in and having like 1,000 words that you can build on or edit or do something cool like that. If you haven't seen it in the Discord, go check it out. You can get a free hour of transcription, and it's pretty cool. I think there's something there with dictation. See, Karina says 258 words. Let's go. 255, 490 total words. 200 just now, plus 2 bowls of dinner. Oh, doubling up on the dinner. Speaking my language. Nice work, everyone. 885 this stream. Nice. Everyone, good job. That is awesome. Who knew you could join a live stream for 2 hours, have a great time, and be productive? Brother, let's go. Yeah, this was pretty good. I love seeing those word counts go up. Remember, it is not solely about the word counts. It means you don't have to write 70,000 words this month. The most important thing was that you were here, that you put some words down, that you were thinking about your story, and the more you do that, the closer you're going to get to a final work. Carsolo, I see your comment. I see you. I'll probably keep writing and get way more words in the next 12 or so hours. Yes, unless I don't. Fair. Only productive when I'm being held accountable. You know what? It's accountable for me too. I'm going to be here 5 days a week. And if you're here, I'll make sure you do some writing. And I won't, no more 30-minute tier lists. I'm addicted to them. They're so much fun. Kira says, just getting my story out, that's the biggest goal. And also discovering more about your writing process. Maybe this time you've realized that you don't need to plan as much in a framework in order to start writing. Maybe this time around you figured out that you like having every single thing about your story planned before you write. Try different little things out about your writing process. That's what this is for. JB says, I'll do the sprints on rerun. Just finished having dinner. Nice. Ooh, we got 16,000 out of 20,000 words. Oh, I bet that's an exciting part of the story. When you get to that last quarter of your target word count, things are popping off. That's what I like about him, at least. All right. I finally introduced my 2 characters who are going to be my love interests. I had a lot of fun with the scene, lots of fun dialogue. I have one of the kinds of character archetypes, kind of tropes that I love the most. I worked into this story. which is just like a solid bromance. Just like two dudes who are kind of looking out for each other, rooting each other on. That's so much fun to write. It's one of my favorite things to experience in a story, to have that sort of like friendship. So I'm working that in to this story, and it's a lot of fun. Yeah, I'm having a good time with my story. I'm ready to get to the murder. I might, I shouldn't, but there is something in me that's like, maybe you should do some non-linear writing and just skip to the good parts. But I'm gonna ride it out. I'm also thinking in my head though, and maybe you'll do this too. Sometimes, especially in the beginning of your book, you got to listen to that motto that musicians use: don't bore us, get to the chorus. Right? If you've heard that, let me know if you've heard that before, if you've heard that in chat. Sometimes it pays with brevity, right? The idea that like, okay, like I'm going to set up my novel, but like I'm not going to be overly verbose in setting up this world because I want to get to the action, right? Which is different than an action prologue. That's a different thing. But yeah, there's something to be said. I do a lot of nonlinear writing. ADHD is a bad word. I feel you. You should see my early chapters, LOL. Margot, you do so much writing. I see all your write-ups on the Discord. Implications are sometimes better than description. Definitely, J Beard. I tell you, we have fun here. Let me do some last sort of live stream announcements. All right, so first, Pro Writing Aid, thank you for sponsoring the video. It's because of them that I don't have to run ads every single live stream, and that is nice. Shout out to Pro Writing Aid. You can use my code WritingTheory10 at checkout to get 10% off. I use it when I write. I have it up here on stream as I write. As we get into more important writing for like when I'm finding the body and everything, I'm going to be using this editing a little bit more to try to nail the vibe that I want. And that's something Pro Writing Aid could do with their style report. Show you guys what that looks like. November 7th, which is in 3 days. So what's that? 5th is Tuesday. On Thursday, I will be on the the Writing Quest live stream. Runs 6:30 to 8:30, I believe. That's Central Time. I'll be better about announcing all the times on the Discord. But we'll be doing sort of like a Q&A, author chat. I really highly encourage you to come hang out and support our awesome local community members. We love Coral Sands. They are fantastic. They've been ride or die since the beginning. I'm excited to do it. If you need some extra accountability, consider that book coaching, developmental editing stuff on my website. You can check it out. And then lastly, I just really appreciate you all for being here. I have a lot of fun doing these, and I hope you have a lot of fun too. This is the first time I've ever done any sort of live stream with people, and especially doing like writing on live stream. And it's been going way better than I could have ever expected. And that's because you guys show up and you make it fun. I do my best to make it fun, but it is way easier when I have so many awesome people in the chat who are just having a good time with me. That's really nice. Thank you. All that being said, I will see you around the Discord. I will be doing this exact same live stream tomorrow, different time. Right? So for me, right now, this live stream runs from 6 to 8. Tomorrow, it'll be 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., which is 12 to 2 Eastern, if that's easier for you to convert. And those are largely for our friends over in across the pond in different time zones. We have a lot of fun. It's the same sort of thing. We goof off. We do some writing. We talk shop. All that great stuff. So if you aren't doing anything then, check it out. I put a playlist in the description to all of these live streams. If you enjoy the group writing experience and you want to do the sprints, you can pull up one of those live streams and check it out. And you can write all you want to it. And I think that's all I got for you. Check out Starlight Farms Kennel for Talking Dogs. support the channel, and post your progress in the Discord. That's probably the biggest thing. Let me know what word counts you got, how much progress you made, whether or not you had a good time. Encourage others to show up if you thought it was a good time, and all that jazz. And I will see you all maybe on Wednesday, maybe tomorrow. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye, Karina, buying it with your next paycheck. That means so much. Marcelo, goodbye, goodbye. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye, have a good time. Good night. Good luck, everyone. Bye. Goodbye.